Hello. The theme for this week is dedicated to the Lord, and today's reading is from 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verses 21 to 28. Elkanah went to Shiloh to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord. He went every year, but since Hannah got pregnant, she never went with him until she'd weaned her son, because she knew that when she did go, she would be leaving her son in the temple to serve the Lord. It was not an easy promise to keep. The majority of children here in Kenya go to boarding school, some of them as early as age 10. And the majority of secondary school children are in boarding school. And it's not an easy life for the mothers. We had a midwife who used to go over to the school and peep through the fence to see how he was. He was the last of 4 children, and she missed him so much. They were able to visit once a month. I've heard many sermons about Hannah, and as I shared with Dr. Claire what I was thinking of, she challenged me. She challenged me to think beyond the obvious, which is what I'm always grateful for her. Hannah had been without a child for many years. In many societies across the world, women who have no children are stigmatized. They are treated as lesser women. Even a woman in Kenya, if she doesn't have a child, will not be buried in the same plot if she dies as the other members of the family. They're not honoured. They're not, they have no worth. A week or so ago, when one of our social workers had done a home visit and was coming back to report on what she'd found, she said that the lady that she'd visited was a baron. A baron? The report was stopped at that point, and a long discussion was taking place about our use of language and how we stigmatize people. She was attaching stigma to the lady because she had been unable to bear children. Hannah was like this lady. She had a very low social standing because she had no children, even though she was loved by her husband Elkanah. Mary was an unmarried, pregnant teenager, loved by Joseph. But can you imagine the stigma that she had as an unmarried, teenage, pregnant woman? Then there was the woman with the issue of blood. Bleeding caused the woman to be ritually unclean, and she'd been unclean for 14 years. Then there was the Samaritan woman who met Jesus at a well. She'd been involved with many men. But these women and many more were faithful to God. Hannah was faithful in her promise to God and took Samuel to the temple. He grew up to be a leader. He was a priest who anointed the 2 of the future kings of Israel. And one of those kings became an ancestor of Jesus. The woman with the bleeding was healed. The woman Jesus met at the well became an evangelist to the village, saying, "Come and see this man who told me everything I've ever done." Who are the stigmatized, the marginalized in our society? Is it the alcoholic, the drug abuser, people who beg in the street, the homeless? What's been said in interviews by homeless people who are begging on the street is that what hurts them the most is when people don't even look at them. They are completely ignored, as if they are non-people. So what can we do? What's our challenge? Our challenge is to treat each one as a child of God, as somebody with worth, to treat them with respect, and, if we can manage it, to welcome them into our church. Let's see people through different eyes.